Intros are still overrated. Let's do a time lapse. We're not actually quite finished building this thing yet, but I wanted to bring you guys in a little bit before the end of the building process so I could share some of the design ideas and philosophies that I had when it came to building this thing. We're done building the main structure, and the whole building is, well, it's brick and it's dirt. It's a lot of dirt. It's probably about 30% dirt, and I like it because you wouldn't really know it from a distance, but the dirt is just such a nice color with the brick and the granite. Anyways, back to what I was saying, bringing you in on the build process, the things that we have left are primarily finishing off a couple of the detail elements of this build. One of them, you can kind of see it's already set up here. There's going to be a feature right in here. And then there are a bunch of features up on this wall right here. And then the back of the building. The back of the building's a little bit plain yet. We're going to be putting a couple of fuel silos back here and a nice big conveyor belt. For those of you guys in my Discord server, you're already aware of some of the stuff I got going on here. You guys have gotten to see some sneak peeks. But let's talk about detailing a build like this and my thought process. When I detail something, I don't want to just detail for the sake of detailing. That means exactly what it sounds. Let me explain a little bit better. What I mean by that is when I detail something, I want the details to sort of serve a purpose in the build. They're not just there to take up space and be a visual attraction, but they're supposed to sort of represent some sort of function. For example, this detail is supposed to be sort of like a conveyor belt feeding some iron into it. And then at the back here, we've got a conveyor belt feeding feeding coal up into the silos, which are fuel silos, which then are going to feed through these little openings right here. We got the starting of another style of conveyor belt. The fuel is going to go in there, and then I'm going to build some kind of furnace on the inside. And yeah, the details are supposed to add to the build more than just busyness, more than just eye candy. They're supposed to add a little bit to the story of what we got going on. Now, I do have a crane design here. It's sort of like a gantry crane that's hanging off the side of the building. I'm not a big fan of the design. And when I designed this in a super flat world, I didn't have the surrounding terrain to give me some inspiration, but I thought it'd be kind of cool. You notice we're kind of surrounded by water on three sides here. Is if maybe we do something like having like a port with a barge coming in here. Not a port, just like a concrete wall, and then a barge that comes in and delivers like the coal and the raw iron. And maybe instead of putting the crane up here, maybe we'll still put a crane there, just a smaller one that doesn't reach out quite as far. Maybe we'll put like a crane in the yard, like right here, in the industrial yard, and then we can actually bring some of the stuff off of the boat and onto here. And oh guys, I'm gonna get to this a little bit later in the episode. Well, maybe there's not that much to get to later in the episode, but between episodes, I built a mob switch. I built a Warden-style mob switch using Ilmango's design, and I've got a little chunk loader there. That's right, I'm not just a pretty face building stuff. I know the technical elements of Minecraft too. Just not good enough to make a YouTube series on it. But I've got a mob switch built now, so now I can hang out here at night and I don't have to worry about my villagers in my village getting killed, as long as I remember to turn the mob switch on. Speaking of villagers, they're both trying to get out. They think their beds are over there. There's beds inside there, you dummies. Maybe they just need to know that. They'll figure it out eventually. I'm trying to breed some villagers inside here right now. I got a bit of a rail set up. This is supposed to eventually be an iron farm. And yeah, villagers are such a pain to deal with. It took them like 45 minutes to lose their previous workstation in the village. I saw, ooh, at least they made a baby already. Yeah, he knows how to use a bed, you dummies. But we're gonna get this whole thing going. Maybe if I just put the blocks outside. I don't know. Or eventually we'll get 12 villagers. And while those villagers are breeding, we'll work on some of these details on the outside. But the first one that I want to do is I want to go after these coal silos on the back here. Because they add a lot of interest to them. I mean, admittedly, with the color scheme and the basic shape of this, I honestly think I could probably get away with not putting details on the back here. But because it's an industrial building, I want to have something interesting back here. And we are going to extend this whole area eventually, you know, with the the floating ship in the air and this being sort of our steampunk iron factory, we are going to extend things a little bit and continue the whole like ship slash factory yard area over here. Not all of it is going to be functional farms. That might get a little bit laggy if I try and make everything serve a functional purpose. Some of it will eventually just be purely decorative, but right now in the early stages, I'm in desperate need of automating a few things, especially iron. I could really use iron. I've used up all of my iron just on this set of trapdoors. It's not even that much iron, but I don't have any left. So we need to get this iron farm up and running. We're gonna work on those fuel silos at the back. I'll let you guys know how that goes. I did really enjoy the look of the wall behind there before, but it does look so much better now that we have these silos up here and the conveyor belt. I also added a transfer conveyor belt there at the top just to make it connected somehow, like we can get fuel from one side to the other. But I really liked the color of the wall, and now I can't see it. In reality, the silos look better. There's a reason I put them here. And with the coal pile there, it all sort of comes together and really tells a story of what the building is supposed to be doing. Making iron, which it isn't. I did, while building those silos, get quite a few more villagers. Just hoppity hop my way over here. I think we're up to about 10, but I think they've run out of food. So, keep making babies, guys. Make all them babies. And then we gotta go through the fun of putting 3 there, 3 there, 3 there, and 3 there. And then I did catch a zombie. He's trapped outside in a little wooden little cover so he doesn't burn. Turns out a mob switch doesn't actually prevent those zombie hordes from spawning, and I only thought those zombie hordes spawned in villages, but I guess the game counts this as a village, so I had like 40 zombies spawn and all come after me. I wasn't even carrying a weapon because I was like, mob switch, what do I need a weapon for? So that was fun, but we caught one of them, and so we can stick them up there to scare our villagers, and then we'll have a nice functioning iron farm. Now this is not the most efficient of iron farms. Let's get up there. Oh, it almost killed me. Okay, so it's not the most efficient iron farm, and one of the reasons for that is that module is technically too close to this one, so that if they don't spawn iron golem simultaneously, which they do most of the time, but if they don't, then only one of them will be able to spawn, because then the other one will see the iron golem that spawns here and it kind of blocks it. But usually we get 2 at a time, probably, I want to say during my testing, very rigorous and thorough testing, I might add. Probably about 75% of the time we get 2, and the rest of the time we only get 1. Maybe it's lower, maybe it's only like half and half. But we don't need a ton of iron. We're not trying to build any sort of Psycraft-esque server here. We just need some iron for building beautiful things like anvils and iron bars and whatnot, and the occasional beacon platform. So I think this simple little iron farm will do just fine. And I'm kind of dreading moving all of the villagers and the zombie up here, but it's gonna have to happen. In the meantime, while they breed up some more, that thing is supposed to be a clock. And it looks terrible. It doesn't look like a clock at all. It just looks like mush. So let's put all the rest of the details on that. It's funny how just a few blocks around there that frames it in makes it look so much more like a clock. Well, I guess the arms, and you can't see them from this angle. Can you see them a little bit over here? Oh no, I didn't even put them on there. A couple of walls, some buttons, and a little frame around it, and it looks a lot more like a clock, and this build is really starting to come together. I got a couple more features to add, real simple things. Well, one of them. We're going to add some smoke up here, and I know campfires in the game can add smoke, and that works, but sometimes the straight up smoke, and it only really gives you one option, not enough for me. I'm going to go old school on this, and we're going to use some cobwebs to create that smoke look coming off of each of the stacks. And then this was suggested to me by a friend and fellow YouTuber, Elegant Elephant, that I should add some water tanks on the side of here. When I was asking for ideas to make this feel a little less industrial and a little bit more steampunk, so we're gonna put a water tank right here and some gears and a little belt drive thing on the side of the wall here that I think look really cool, and we'll finish up the build. We have the last couple pieces of exterior decoration built in here. This little water tank, I don't know, I think it's kind of neat. It doesn't really serve a specific purpose besides adding some steampunky feel. And then we got these gears and that little like belt drive up there. I really like how those turned out. Let's get a better look from the air. Yep, I think those gears and that belt drive turned out awesome. The spruce kind of blends in a little bit. Maybe I should switch that out for like dark oak or something. Anyway, I've finally got enough villagers in here to start working on the iron farm. Unfortunately, I think a couple of them are still babies, so I gotta wait, like 20 whole minutes for them to grow up. And I moved my zombie that I had trapped outside up into his final resting place, I guess. And we're ready to try and start producing iron. I had to trap my iron golem in here because I'm a little worried that if he gets out, he'll navigate his way up there and kill my zombie. Now the fun process of moving a whole bunch of freaking villagers. I'll see you guys shortly. Villagers are in place. Iron production is underway. Well underway. I've got plenty of iron now. That should keep me supplied for quite a long time. And some feeble attempts at some interior work. Yes, I don't know how I feel about this yet. We may have to totally radically change this, but like, got one furnace for each of those coal feeds from the silos, and then this weird like ash conveyor belt that feeds. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think it's great. But on the outside, remember when I was talking about cranes? We have cranes. This is my revised design. It's a lot simpler. It's a lot less out there than the original. I'll take you over to the test world in a second. I really like how this crane turned out. I think this is really cool. I think I actually got the design idea for this from like a picture of Terraria. Is that the 2D version? I don't know what it's called, but like the 2D version of Minecraft that exists, there was like a crane design that existed in it, or that I saw, and I thought it was kind of neat. So this is what I built from that, and then we got the like gantry train hanging off the side there. I love both of them. But let's hop over to a test world, and I'll show you the original design, and I'll talk about why I didn't end up building it. Welcome behind the scenes for where I do a lot of my testing. You can definitely tell it's a test world with the amount of wool everywhere. This is the final design. That's the crane. And this is the original design for that crane arm. It's a little bit out there. It's a little weird. I don't necessarily think it looks bad. I don't know. Maybe it's this little weird curve thing at the end that bothered me the most, or the fact that gear up there is ridiculously oversized and it was hard to go between that size and that size. In any case, I opted not to use this design. I copied and pasted it out of the way, and then I rebuilt it, and I ended up with that. You can see a little bit of block palette work going on here and the clock design. Yeah, I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about the original design and if you actually like it more than the finalized one. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I made the right choice, guys. You let me know. And in true building with Rohan fashion, one build is not enough. We're gonna get started on our little port area. You can see I've done some work with the dock. This is very plain. It's just the very beginning stages of it. We've got campfires and slabs and a little bit of a weird wall shape going around here, but we're gonna put our first little section of buildings in here. Let's go. I think we need to check out these builds with some shaders on now. Oh yeah, they look good! I'm so happy with the color palettes I chose for both of these. I mean, I'm still a little bit annoyed with the stupid shaders making the copper blocks that I've mixed in here shinier, and their palette totally doesn't blend in anymore. But this build, oh yeah. Check out the roof and the crazy busy texture going on over here. I am super excited about this build, and as a side note, I figured out how to make the shaders run a little bit more smoothly while recording in OBS. I just had to limit my frame rate so that my GPU wasn't totally capped out. So now maybe I can film a little bit more often with shaders on? How did that happen? Where? Excuse me. It took me some time with this build to figure out the exact color palette. Maybe we need a different time of day to get a good look at this. Or we can just turn those off for the time being. It took me a while to decide on the color palette specifically for the roof. For a while, I had brick and granite chosen, and they both have very busy textures, and then I mixed in a little bit of that stuff, the dripstone blocks. But what ended up happening is this whole roof texture was totally lost. It just looked like a busy block mess. And granted, it is still decently busy with the very odd mixture, especially with that little color feature right in there. But I think that the terracotta as a much simpler texture helps everything blend. Or not blend, stand out? I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. I think it looks good. That's what I think. I think it looks great. And then I did some fun with the shading down below here and some darkness, and then adding some darker blocks to the corners. I think I went a little bit overboard with texturing on this build, but I had a lot of fun with it, and I learned a bunch of different things, and I enjoyed it very much. So I'm going to stick with it. Whether or not it stays my favorite build of all time, at least for now, I thoroughly enjoy it. Noticing that I left this wall a little plain. We'll sort that out in the future. The interior on this thing is totally empty right now, and the plan is to put a couple of micro farms in here. It's gonna be... Oh, crap. Oh, no! No, no, no! Oh, that sucks. Run! As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, this build has no interior, obviously, and the plan is to put a few different micro farms inside here and maybe add some windows. I'm not sure about making it actually, like, decorative. It'll probably primarily be functional. In the end, when it comes to building and trying to make an immersive world like this, it feels really unrealistic, especially since I have a real job and my time is very limited, as some of you guys have found out by my really random upload schedule. It's really hard to consistently complete interiors in like a really detailed manner, so I'm gonna accept and be totally okay with not finishing them. I hope you guys are too. I think the more important thing is to try and create an entire world of immersive and interesting builds, with the occasional interior in areas where you're more likely to want to enter, like on that thing, that blimp, or even this build. It's a little bit more of a dominant build on the landscape, and I think it ought to have an interior. Right now, it doesn't. It totally doesn't. But, oh, guys, I'm so late getting this video out, and I'm so behind on designing the next builds for everything. Ooh, yeah, that looks good in the morning. I'm trying, guys. I really am trying. It is very difficult to blend my personal life and real life commitments with attempting to get tons of Minecraft builds done, but I'm doing my very best. Let me know what you guys think of this. This is, in fact, all the time I have for in this episode because I'm wildly overdue getting this episode out to you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the time lapses. And let me know what you think of this build style. Till next time, see you guys later.